Why, hello there, fabulous entrepreneur. I'm Tash Corbin, and I'm super excited to welcome you to this Fast Track Your Startup training. Before we jump in and begin, I would recommend that you have a pen and piece of paper or journal handy because it's a very practical training. We're going to have lots of juicy insights as well as practical strategies that you can take away and implement straight away. So if you need to pause this video to go and grab a pen and paper, do that now. Now that we're ready to go, I want to just quickly walk you through what we're going to cover in this video. So first of all, I want to talk about the big mistakes and myths of starting an online business and how to make money from it in particular. I want to talk about what really fast tracks your income and results, and also give you the tools to select the strategy that's actually right for you. Knowing that we are all unique, all of our businesses are unique, and we want to be able to choose things that actually fit our natural skills and strengths, as well as work for our ideal clients and our target market. I'm also going to give you some very practical steps that you can implement immediately to help you fast track the results of your business, and that means make more money more quickly. At the end of the training, I'll also let you know a little bit about me and how we can work together. I don't want to spend any time now talking about that. I think I'm going to let my work speak for itself. But if you're curious to know a little bit more about me and how I can continue to support you in your business, I'll let you know at the end of this training. So the first thing I want you to do is just in 5 seconds, jot down any words, thoughts, or feelings that come up for you when you hear the words money hungry. Money hungry. What is it that comes to mind for you? How do you feel about those words? Are there any memories that pop up for you? Now, for me, as a young child, I actually got in a lot of trouble from my teacher and my parents, and I was even hauled up to the school principal's office when, in a creative writing session, when I was 7 years old, 6 or 7 years old, I wrote a story about a girl who discovered a money tree. And in this story, I talked about all of the things that she bought for her family and her friends and all of the things that she could do with that money. My teacher was so concerned about that story that I had written that both of my parents were called into the school, and all of us had to go to the principal's office and have a conversation because my teacher was afraid that I was too money hungry. So you can imagine, as a 6 or 7 year old young lady, my thoughts and feelings about money that came out of that memory. I was normally a straight A student, teacher's pet, never got in trouble, so scared of authority. And here I was getting hauled over the coals for writing what I thought was a really beautiful story about being generous with money. And here I was getting in trouble for being money hungry. So I bet you've got some of these types of thoughts pop up when you hear these words as well. You might think of a snake oil salesman, or any salesman for that matter. We think about things like Mr. Wormwood, who was Matilda's father in the Roald Dahl book. We think about the filthy rich. Now think about those words, filthy rich, those two words being together. Making sales at any cost, being slimy, being pushy, being aggressive. You might have even thought about manipulative behavior. So if you're money hungry, you will make money at all costs, even if it means manipulating other people. Ultimately, this programming has led us to believe that sales is bad behavior and that a focus on money is actually a bad thing. Now, this is actually a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. It's a good thing because as women in business, we are very mindful of not wanting to resort to trickery and dodgy tactics in order to achieve our business success. It helps us understand what feels aligned for us ethically when it comes to selling, making sales, and making money in our businesses. But it can also be a bad thing for us because if we're not conscious of this belief, if we're not conscious of what we think and feel about sales, selling, money, and being money hungry, then sometimes we can subconsciously sabotage our businesses and stop ourselves from being focused on income generation in our businesses. So if you don't learn how to be good at sales, it's like you're tying one hand behind your back. But a lot of us are in resistance to learning about sales because of our beliefs about what selling involves, because of those messages that we've received that selling is a bad thing, it's bad behavior. We stick our head in the sands and we try and avoid selling at all costs. We try and avoid even learning about sales. We don't even want to know about it because we are so frightened of becoming that snake oil salesman. We're so frightened of becoming that aggressive, manipulative person who is preying on the weak. Think about all of those stories you've heard about little old ladies being taken advantage of. But if we don't learn how to be good at sales, we won't be able to progress our businesses as effectively and as quickly. And if you're not focused on growing the income and growing it quickly from the start, you can get very distracted. Now, I'm not saying that we need to learn that trickery and those dodgy sales tactics, but I am saying that we need to find a way to really embrace sales and selling in a way that feels aligned to us, it feels aligned with our values, and it feels like it's in our wheelhouse. You can actually create sales processes that feel like they're easy for you, that are aligned to your strengths, that feel like they're really connected and empowering for your clients. But you need to learn how to sell in order to learn those strategies and master those strategies as well. So if you're not focused on growing the income and growing it very quickly from the start of your business, you can get very distracted. You might even do some of these things. Now, chances are that you've probably already done some of these things, but these are all signs that potentially you may be distracted from income generation as the core fundamental of growing your startup. So things like writing and launching a book. Once you take into consideration the marketing that goes into that book, the fees, the wholesale costs, the shipping costs, all the things that go into creating and launching a book, then for a lot of authors, $1 a book is the kind of profit margin that you're looking at. So writing and launching a book, whilst it can create some momentum and it can give you some reach, it isn't actually an income generating activity, and definitely not for someone who's in startup. You might create a new online course, or maybe 3 or 4 or 6 of them. You might run free challenges and get all these people jumping in and doing your free challenges, but you're not actually making any money out of it. You could spend weeks, if not months, building a fancy schmancy website, building complex funnels where you have email sequences and upsells and downsells. You might even spend 6 months preparing to launch your business. And I actually had a VIP client who I was potentially wanting to work with me. And I asked her, how many clients have you worked with? She said, I haven't actually launched my business yet. And I said, oh, okay, so what is it that you're waiting to launch? And she said, well, I just want to have a countdown. I'm launching my business next month. And I said, oh, do you have people who are on a wait list or people who are waiting for you to launch your business? And she said, no, I don't. And I said, okay, well, the services that you've talked to me about sound like they're absolutely amazing. I could even think of 3 or 4 people who I could refer through to you who I think would be great clients for you. So are you saying I have to wait until your business is launched before I can send them through? And she says, yes, well, my website is all built behind the scenes, but I'm not actually launching it until next month. I'm like, well, why are you waiting? And she said, because I need to do a countdown. And we just went round and round and round in circles. And ultimately what it came down to was she had this preconception that in order to start a business, you needed to prepare and have this big launch where you had a party and you told your family and friends about it. And yes, it's wonderful to do those things. But if you can be making money now, why do you need to wait until you've launched, in inverted commas, next month? You might also find that you spend a lot of money on Facebook ads to get likes. So many people are focused on getting likes and followers and subscribers and all of these sorts of things, but they haven't actually got an income generation strategy to go with it. And so you're spending all of this money to get a bunch of people interested in your business, but you've never actually made a cent from it. You may also get caught in the trap of paying $15,000 to someone who says that they want to help you serve more. And ultimately, that doesn't result in you making more sales and making more money in your business. And really, ultimately, what it comes down to is that you make little, if any, profit and you feel like things are too darn hard. I know too many women who have been in business for too long, making too little money. And a lot of the time when I ask them, well, what is your income generating strategy? They talk to me about how they're doing guest posts on 45 different podcasts. And I say, okay, well, what are you promoting on that? And they say they're promoting their freebie. And by the time we get to the point where they're actually asking people for the money, it's months and months down the track. This is not an income generating strategy. And a lot of these things are very distracting. I know so many more examples. People who spend months and months getting qualifications so that they feel like they're ready to be able to sell. Some people who work underneath someone or work as a coach, as a subcontractor for someone else so that they can get the experience so that they can somehow get to the point where they feel worthy of charging for their time. And ultimately, you are ready now. And it's not really a secret, but it feels like it's one of the biggest, weirdest secrets on the internet, that by focusing on your income and building that income first, what you do is you create space. Because when you have time and money, that's when you have freedom. And so if you're spending 40 hours a week creating all of these things that don't actually result in you generating income in your business, then you're not creating the money that you need to unhook yourself from the time that you're investing. And therefore, you don't have the freedom to make decisions about the type of strategy that you want to implement. If you want to go out there and run free challenges, then go out there and run free challenges. Once you've proven that you can sell your product or service that you're trying to sell at the end of that challenge. If you cannot sell through a one-to-one conversation with someone, direct selling to them the thing that you have to offer, then sending them through a bunch of hoops and loops in order for them to go to a sales page that tries to do the selling for you, ultimately will result in really low conversion rates because you're not having conversations with people. And what I say to people is that if you can't sell to someone using a one-to-one conversation, when you have the opportunity to hear their objections to what it is that you're saying, to hear their questions, to overcome those objections, to really deeply understand the transformation that they're looking to achieve by working with you, if you can't sell in that conversation, how on earth is a website going to do the selling for you when you don't have access to that other person? You don't get to hear their objections. You don't get to hear their questions, and you don't get to deeply understand what it is that they're there for. You're just trying to sell to them based on your theories about what they need. That's why I am such a fan of lean business. In the lean business model, we build and refine your business from the bottom up. So you may have seen images like this where there's sales funnels and you have free content at the top, and then you get people on your mailing list, and then you send them emails and they go through this sequence, and then that presents them a $7 thing to buy, and then once they've bought the $7 thing, then you upsell them to the $1,000 thing, and then once they've been in the $1,000 thing for a year, then you sell them a $5,000 retreat. And it's this really complex process that people go through. But the thing is that if you get a mailing list full of 10,000 people, but the messaging that you're using to sell your $7 thing or your $900 thing or whatever it is that you're selling once you get them on your mailing list, if you haven't got that messaging right, if you don't understand who the niche is that you are selling that to, if you don't have a very clearly defined value proposition that has people saying, shut up and take my money, then ultimately you've just built a giant dead end, because people get to the point where they're on your mailing list and they're doing all these free things with you, but no one's actually converting into paying clients. So I thought we would crunch some numbers here. For those of you who are in startup, let's say that your initial goal is $5,000 a month, right? Let's just say that's your first goal, is that you want to get to the point where you're at least making $5,000 a month in your business. So let's say you decide you're going to sell a $47 ebook and course bundle, or you could sell a $97 course, or you could sell a $997 product or service of some kind. Let's say that $997 is a 2-month intensive working with you one-on-one. So if we were to crunch the numbers on this, how many leads are actually required in order for you to make the sales that result in you having $5,000 a month? So number one, if you are selling $47, then you'll need to make 107 sales of that product. If your product is $97, you're going to need to make 52 sales. And if your product is $997, you'll need to make 6 sales. So using the 1% rule, the rule of 1%, which is a very consistent rule of thumb of conversion rates in online business, then in order to sell those 107 of your $47 product, you would need 10,700 leads on your mailing list. Now, given that Facebook advertising and marketing these days is but jumping up above $3 to $5 and sometimes even $10 a lead, in order for you to get those 10,000 leads, you would need to spend at least $30,000 on Facebook ads in order to make $5,000 of selling your product or service. The math doesn't add up. Similarly, if you wanted to sell your $97 product, even selling a $97 product, if you were to get 5,200 leads from Facebook, that would cost you $15,000 in order for you to make $5,000 in sales. There's no profit margin here. And even at 600 leads, even if you wanted to sell 6 of your 997 product or service, let's say you create a beautiful signature program, it's 12 weeks, it's an intensive, it's got live calls with you, you're really excited about it, it's $997, then in order for you to get the leads that you need, you're going to need to spend upwards of $1,800 to $2,000 as a minimum, that's with $3 leads, in order to make that $5,000 per month. But if you don't know that you're going to get those 6 conversions, then you are risking $2,000 on Facebook ads in order to potentially make $5,000 worth of sales. Now, I understand that compared to putting $2,000 on black at the casino, the odds are probably a little bit more stacked in your favor. I understand that, if it does work, the return on investment could be quite juicy for you. But think about how many times you would have to run that launch to get that many sales. So you go through this process, you decide, yep, I'm going to get 6 people signed up to my program the first month that I launch it. You put $2,000 worth of ad spend in there, you get those 6 people who sign up, and then you spend your 12 weeks delivering that program to those people. You're being paid $3,000 profit for 3 months of delivery, $1,000 a month. And so you can see that even when you're charging $997, the math still isn't very sexy. It still isn't really stacked in your favor. And this is where one-to-one conversations come in. Because here's the thing. In order to sell a $997 one-to-one service, if you were making those sales to warm audiences through connected conversations one-on-one with people, you would actually only need 20 leads in order to convert 6 people into paying clients. And that is based on industry average conversion rates of one-to-one sales conversations with warm audiences. In some cases, the women that I work with, they have a 50% conversion rate. So in order to get 6 clients at $997 and bring in $5,900 into their business each month, they just need to set themselves a goal of having 12 sales conversations each month. 12 sales conversations, that's all it takes. So the question is, which would you rather? You are in startup right now. You are still trying to get to the point where you're consistently making $5,000 a month. Would you rather have 20 conversations in the next 4 weeks and get that $5,000 in the door? Or would you rather spend the next 3 to 6 months building funnels and websites and content that will take months to return on investment, if they ever return on investment for you? And this is what the fast track is all about. Build and sell the paid product. Then, once you know you've got the value proposition, people are willing to pay for the outcome, and you know what you need to do in order to make those sales and where those people are hanging out, Then you build and promote the gated content, i.e. the things that get people onto your mailing list that bring those exact leads into your world. And then you systemize and scale the broadcast or the top part of the funnel so that you know already once you get those 10,000 people signed up to your list that we talked about earlier, that you are going to convert a consistent number of those people into paying clients because it's proven rather than building on theory. People often think that it's better to do it the other way around. We spend months and months getting followers on Facebook, building websites, creating content, blogging, video blogs, YouTube channels, and all we're doing is building the top of our funnel based on a theory that some of those people will convert into paying clients eventually. That is a lot of work to be doing based on theory. And here's the thing. Great businesses just are not built on theory. Great businesses are built on actual results, tangible, real-time results, proven products, proven value propositions. That's where great businesses are built. So what is it that you need to do in order to be profitable quickly? You don't need those fancy sales funnels. You don't need to build a website. You don't need the best photos in the world. You don't need a brand strategy. You don't need it to have ads. You don't need to be paying money on building all of these crazy funnels. So what is it that you do need? Ultimately, it comes down to these three things. One, you need to reach the right people. Two, you need to convert them into clients. And three, you need to deal with your mindset. When you are first starting out in business, all you need to have in order to have a business is a paying client. If you have a paying client, congratulations, you are in business. Now, in Australia, of course, in other countries, there are legal requirements to be in business. You may need to register a business name, for example. In Australia, you need to have an Australian business number. You can get that for free on the internet from the government. It's not difficult for you to do that. But ultimately, really, if we think about what are the signs that you are in business, the number one sign that you have a business is that you have paying clients. So how do we get out there and get you those paying clients? You need to reach the right people, you need to convert them, and you need to deal with your mindset. So in the second half of this training, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through step-by-step practical strategies that will help you do these three things. First and foremost, I need to say, when I say reach the right people, not all people are the right people. You actually need to have a niche. Now, this can be a real point of resistance for people because we've seen the traditional growth of business be that you create your product and then you get out there and advertise to giant audiences, and you want to convince as many people as possible that they need your thing. If you think about cars and Coke and McDonald's and Pizza Hut and all of those big brands, their goal is to actually reach as many people as possible and to make sure that they're covering off as many demographics as possible as well. Unfortunately, in the online business world, that's just not possible for us. In order to have the Coca-Cola style of brand strategy, I mean, they've got pretty shitty brand strategy at the moment anyway, but in order to have that style of brand strategy and not have a niche or a specific audience that you're getting, that you're focused on, you need such big budgets for your advertising that for small businesses, it's just not possible. Unless you have some billionaire grandfather who's going to leave you lots of money and you've got unlimited budget in order to get out there and advertise and reach your potential clients, you're going to need to niche. That's because in the online business world, and if you've ever been on Facebook, you'll have seen this as well, it's a really noisy place. It's very busy. There are lots of people out there trying to convince you that they have the thing that you want. And in order for your messaging to stand out, it needs to really resonate. It needs to feel like they've been peeking in your windows and saw exactly the problem that you had yesterday. And you would, sometimes it feels really freaky when you have those Facebook ads pop up. Like I had a conversation with someone at a retreat about a Shakti mat. And she said to me, have you ever heard of Shakti mat? I was like, no, I haven't. And she said, oh, they're really cool. You should look it up. I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And then the next day, I hadn't even looked up Shakti mats. There was an ad for Shakti mats on my Facebook page. And it stood out to me because I had just been talking about it with someone. So that's the kind of resonance that we need to create when we're trying to stand out in the online world. If you try and be all things to all people, then it's going to be very easy for people to assume that you're not actually for them or you don't understand them. To fast track your reach, micro your niche. So I thought I would give you some practical examples here because I think in the examples is where we really get the light bulb moment of, oh, I see, that's what she means. So this is actually a real life example that I had of a VIP client that I was working with. She was a teacher of EFT or tapping, emotional freedom technique. Now in EFT, tapping, it is such a broad modality. It can help people do anything, right? And this person wanted to be an EFT practitioner who helped people to release fear. And I said to her, look, yes, you can help everyone. You can help people who are afraid of spiders. You can help people who are afraid of being seen on the internet. You can help people who are afraid of having sales conversations. You can help people who are afraid of stepping out of the house and have agoraphobia. Absolutely. But think about it for yourself. What do you need help with in relation to fear right now? Do you have fears that are holding you back right now? Do you even know that it's fear that's holding you back? You know, when I work with women entrepreneurs, a lot of the time they have some really sexy excuses as to why they're not running webinars or why they're not doing Facebook Lives or why they don't want to be in Facebook groups. But when we dig beneath the surface, what we find is they actually have this real fear of visibility, or there's a fear of getting a hater, or there's a fear of outshining their sister who they were highly competitive with at school, or whatever it might be. But they aren't even aware that that fear is driving their behavior. So your reach will actually magnify when you can apply your work to a relevant context. So in this example, I was working with this lady and she actually was really passionate about physical fears. She had had a debilitating fear of heights and a fear of air travel. And she had used EFT to actually cure herself of those fears. She had worked with a practitioner and then she had trained to become a practitioner herself because she saw how powerful this modality was. So this lady, she had been going to the EFT Practitioners Conference on the Gold Coast in Australia every year for 4 years. And every year she paid for her ticket and she went and sat in the crowd of all these people and they were all EFT practitioners. They were all learning about EFT. And she was one of many, many EFT practitioners around Australia. After 3 months of focusing on physical fears, such as fear of heights, fear of flying, fear of snakes, fear of spiders, those types of things, and really refining her message to those physical fears, she was invited to speak on stage at that very same conference. It is by having a context to which you can apply your work and getting hyper-specific about your message that you instantly become an expert in your area. A second example would be website development. And I've worked with many web developers in my time. And yes, you can help anyone create a website. I'm sure that you could make an amazing corporate website and an amazing healers website and an amazing beeswax wraps website and an amazing essential oils website. I'm sure you could do all of them. But think about it from the customer's perspective. If you're a corporate consultant and you specialize in working with accountants, would you be excited or inspired when you look at a web developer's portfolio and you see a kinesiologist website, an aromatherapy website, and a floral emblems website? Will those examples actually hit the mark for you, and what will your perceptions be of that provider? And on the flip side, if you were, let's say you were a beautiful shamanic healer and you wanted to get a website built and you go to a web developer's platform, you see their website and their portfolio has an accountancy firm and a construction firm and an air conditioning person's firm. And it says all of their websites as examples on the portfolio. What will those examples hit the mark for you, and what will your perceptions be of the provider? Now, I'm sure you're thinking, well, what if you had a mix of things that were on your portfolio? But have a think about it. If you saw a mix of things on one person's website And then you went to another portfolio and it had all of these amazing, gorgeous, floral, delicious pink and gold and amazing websites that just all felt like they were exactly the thing that you were looking for. How excited would you be to work with that person versus the person who was a jack of all trades? By niching down and specializing, you are actually creating instant credibility, instant recognition as an expert, and instant belief in your potential clients that you understand their specific and unique needs. So in order to fast track your reach, you need to get hyper micro with your niche. If you're still not convinced, I want you to think about the Gordon Ramsay principle. I am a huge fan of Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares. It's one of my favorite shows on TV. And he says, if there are hundreds of dishes on your menu, I will assume as a restaurant attendee and as a customer that some of those dishes are going to be bad. You cannot be good at hundreds of things. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to really struggle and take a long time to choose because I'm trying to guess, well, what's the house specialty here? What is it that you're actually good at? And, oh, do I feel like this or do I feel like that or do I feel like this or do I feel like that? You're giving me way too many options to choose from and it's confusing me. As well as I'm going to assume you're average at all of those things. I'm also going to make some assumptions that a lot of that stuff is going to be microwave. It's going to be pre-prepared. There's no way you could cook 100 different dishes fresh. You're not going to have all the veggies and everything prepped up. So I'm going to make a lot of assumptions that your work is going to be lower quality because you have too many things on your menu. So have a think about that for your business. Are you thinking about creating a business or have you already created a business where when someone first comes across your work, there are hundreds of ways that they can engage with you? Maybe it's just dozens or maybe it's just 20. But even 20 things as a service provider online make you seem like you're a generalist, you're not a specialist. One last incentive to niche is that when you are considered a specialist, you no longer need to compete on price. So when you think about that web developer who had really beautiful feminine websites in their portfolio, and that web developer who had lots of examples of really different websites, and they could do tradie websites and professional services websites and healer websites and eco-friendly websites and all sorts of things. If you were really in love with the work that that person who specialized in feminine websites did, if you saw their work, you're like, yeah, but that's the prettiest, that is the most beautiful, that's the best, that really is aligned to me, would you be willing to pay more to work with that person because they specialized in the type of website that you wanted? Hands down, for your ideal client, the answer is yes. So instead of competing on price, you get to become a specialist and be a premium price in the market when you niche. When you get hyper specific about who you're here to serve and how you serve them. Plus, when it comes to reach, one connected lead is worth more than 100 distant leads. So I want you to think about how else you can scale your reach, right? So first and foremost, we're going to micro down your niche in order to scale your reach. So all the things that you're doing online will now resonate much more quickly and much more deeply with your ideal clients because you understand them and you're a specialist in what they're struggling with. And then let's find ways to also get you lots and lots of connected leads with people who are potentially your ideal clients. Now, these are a range of strategies that you can plug and play. You can choose a bunch of different ones to try out. So it could be things like going to in-person events. So you could go to networking events in your local area where you're meeting other people who could potentially be your ideal clients. One connected person is always worth 100 distant. So let's think about if you created a free ebook and you got 100 people download that free ebook, then those 100 people are worth to your business about the same as one person that you meet at a networking event and you introduce yourself and they say, oh my gosh, your services sound amazing. Because that one connected person is more likely to refer other people to you, is more likely to get in touch with you if they need your services. Like think about when you go to a barbecue and you meet a plumber and you're like, oh my gosh, I have plumbing work that I need to do. Do you then whip out your phone and go and Google other plumbers? Or do you then ask that person, actually, I have plumbing stuff that I need to do. I've been meaning to install the plumbing into my special fridge. Can you do that for me? You would ask that person then and there. So connected reach is way more valuable to your business, particularly when you're in startup. So think about in-person networking, going to live and events and workshops. Now, when I first started my business, not only did I go to other people's live events and workshops, I ran live events and workshops of my own as well. So I ran business planning workshops in my local area. I facilitated masterminding days where we would work on email sequences and blog post titles and all sorts of things so that I could get local connection with my ideal clients and generate really connected leads for my business. Many of the people who came to those workshops ended up being paying clients of mine, whether it was within the next week, within the next month, or within the next year. Attending conferences. Now, I set this goal for myself when I first started my business, and I'm so glad that I did it. That from the moment that I started my business, I would go to 2 conferences every single year. And I've attended some really amazing conferences over the years and met some amazing people as well. Some of my biggest sales to VIP clients came from the person that I sat next to at a conference because they got to know me, we really connected, they could see my work in action, we could have really deep and meaningful conversations about masculine versus feminine sales approaches and business and all sorts of things. And they could really see how I could support them in their business. And so they asked me, how could I work with you? And I happily let them know. So attending conferences, particularly for your ideal client, particularly in your niche, is a really great way to meet people who may be potential leads for your business. I also love getting referrals in. And when I first started my business, I told every paying client, if you have any friends or family members or people that you know who you think could benefit from my services, then if you refer them through to me, I will give them a free 30-minute session with me, just because they know you. And of course, all of my clients, because they loved the work that they were doing with me and it felt like they were gifting something to their friends, would go and find people and say, oh my gosh, as part of my work with Tash, I can gift you 30 minutes to work with her. I think she could really help you with A, B, and C. Here's her email address. Tell her that I sent you. So I would get 3 or 4 referrals at least from every single paying client that I had when I first started my business. And because they were referred through, they were really connected. They were really warm leads. They knew about my work because the person I was working with explained what I was doing with them. They were highly qualified leads, and a lot of them converted into paying clients. Being in great Facebook groups is another way to find more connected leads. Now, this probably isn't as connected as the things on the left-hand side. The left-hand side column are more those really highly connected leads, but these are more ways that you can get online leads or slightly distant leads, but they're more connected than, say, cold traffic to a Facebook ad. So think about the Facebook groups that you're in, the Facebook groups where your ideal client is hanging out. In great Facebook groups where there's a beautiful connected conversation and people are really engaged, you have an automatic little nudge on that trust factor with those people. You automatically get a little bit of extra trust because you're in a community together with that person. And if they see your advertising, your promotion of your next webinar, or you promoting your services in that group, then there's going to be a greater chance of them trusting you and clicking through if they're in a group with you, rather than seeing your cold ad on their newsfeed or seeing a promotion of yours, say on the sidebar of YouTube or something along those lines. Another great way to get slightly warmer leads is through your course peers and referrals. So quite a few of my first clients in my business came from courses that I was in, and I made the commitment to be the teacher's pet in those courses, and I was hyper present in them, and I was also one of the most supportive course peers you could ever do a program with. If someone posted and said, oh, I can't get my MailChimp to work, I was like, let's jump on a quick call, I'll walk you through it. Or here's my 3 steps that I use to do the thing that you're asking about. People would, if anyone was having a case of the doldrums or down in the dumps, I would be the first one cheering them on, saying, you've got this. People are waiting for your services. You're doing an amazing job. And I would be cheering them on. And many of those course peers became my clients or referred paying clients through to me. There's also friends of friends. I use the same referral process for my friends. So I'll say to my friends, what I said was, I'm starting a business. This is the kind of person that I'm working with. If you know anyone who could benefit from those services, if you refer them through to me, I will give them their first 30-minute session for free. So actually, friends of mine were very quick to send me through leads and people who they thought might be able to benefit from my services. So I was able to give some great free value to those people. And then, of course, the local touch. There's a big difference between our kids go to the same school versus you're on the other side of the world from me, and using some of those things to really maximize the results in your business can be really effective in getting lots of reach. So things like if you see people posting in Facebook groups and they say, I'm in the western suburbs of Sydney, you say, I'm in the western suburbs too. Like creating that connection of, yes, we are in the local area together. There's also Facebook groups that are specifically for geographic locations. There are also ways that you can, particularly if you have a physical practice, you can do things like letterbox drops and advertising in local cafes and other businesses, going to local events and, special product launches or book launches. If there's ever a book launch in the town that I'm in, I'm there, particularly if it's a female author. So those types of things where you're meeting locals and connecting with them, just the fact that you're geographically located close to them can be enough for people to feel like they're more connected with you. So which do you choose? Okay, so now that we know the ways that you can really scale up that reach and reach more of the right people, which strategy do you need to focus on most? Do you need to niche or do you need to be getting out there and getting connected leads? And if you need to do both, what is your strategy for both? So how are you going to select a niche and how are you going to get out there and find those connected leads? Which of those connected lead strategies feels doable for you, feels like it's in your zone of strength, that you can actually do it and be comfortable and confident doing it? Which one's a little bit of a stretch outside that comfort zone? And which one do you think is going to work best for your product or service? Okay, so that's part one, is reach the right people. Number two is convert the right ones into paying clients. Now, of course, the higher the quality your leads, the more likely they are to become clients. So for better leads, we've talked about that in the reach section. You want to find as many connected leads as possible, particularly when you're first starting out. Beyond the quality of the lead itself, the key to conversion is connection. So if you want to get high conversion rates, as I said earlier in this presentation, you want to choose sales strategies that are high connection strategies. What do I mean by that? For example, have sales conversations, not sales pages. So if you have a beautiful VIP offer where people can work with you, rather than spending hours and hours, weeks and weeks creating the world's most perfectly copywritten sales page, why not just have the call to action be that people can jump on and have a free conversation with you about whether it's the right fit? And you can have sales conversations with people, qualify them as leads, and maximize the conversion of the right people into paying clients. Here's the thing. If someone is your ideal client, they go and check out your sales page and they read your sales page and they think, no, I don't think that's actually the right fit for me. You'll never know that person was there, other than you might see an extra number come up on your Google Analytics of that page if you've got that set up, and you can set up a retargeting ad for that person using Facebook ads and pay to get back in front of them. But how do you know what their resistance was? You don't get to hear what their questions are, why they think it's not a good fit right now, and you can't address anyone's assumptions about what that thing is that you're selling as well. So particularly when you're first starting out, I highly recommend you use as many connected strategies to convert people into paying clients as possible. Rather than passive freebies like ebooks and checklists and video trainings, why not run live webinars? Live webinars still to this day convert way better than any other freebie that you can create. And the reason is because people are there with you live, they get to ask you questions, they get to feel like they are seen, they hear hear your voice, they're learning from you, they're there in the room at the same time. Now, I'm not talking about the types of webinars where you pretend that they're live, but they're actually pre-recorded. I'm talking about real fair dinkum live webinars. Live webinars convert really beautifully because, again, people get to ask you questions. You can use their case as an example, their question as an example. What about if it's for this? What if my child does that? You can use that example and address that, so you're creating connection. You're tailoring the advice that you're giving to the people who are in the room, and it has been proven time and time again to be the most converting. Number 3 is serve people, don't shout at people. Now, this is a really interesting one. I find this a lot when people join Facebook groups. They jump into Facebook groups and they just promo. Even when someone asks a really raw and vulnerable question, in the comments they say, "This is my area of expertise. Here's a link to book a conversation with me." And it's like you're just basically turning the group into a billboard instead of being a real human being. So what I recommend that you do is, if someone who is your ideal client asks a question in a Facebook group, help them out, answer their question, because chances are the people who are seeing that answer are not just the person who's asked the question. It's also the other 100 and so people who see that comment. And it's not an opportunity to serve is not a lost opportunity to sell. An opportunity to serve is not a lost opportunity to sell. You're creating a relationship with people. So, and it's the same thing I see people with their Facebook pages and a lot of social media strategy. I just feel like I'm constantly being shouted at. I just feel like I'm constantly being told what to do. I just feel like I'm constantly being I'm constantly being judged and told that I'm never going to be successful, and this is what you need, and why aren't you listening to me? And ultimately, we want to connect with people. Connection is what converts. So be of service. Focus on supporting people and meeting them where they're at. Number 4, rather than relying on websites and Facebook pages, when you're first starting out in business, concentrate on being in Facebook groups. If your ideal client is a woman and she is an entrepreneurial woman in your niche, then chances are the best place for you to find her is actually in Facebook communities. Now, of course, I'm not saying that you can't make sales on websites and not to have a Facebook page. That's not what I'm saying at all. I think that it is important to set up a Facebook page as a minimum. That's your online home until you've built a website. And I have a website and I have Facebook pages as well. But by being present in Facebook groups, as I said, you're getting that connection, you're getting that little bit more trust and a bit more of a warmer audience to engage with. And it's the perfect place to practice your messaging, connect with people, be of service, and join the conversation. The other beautiful thing about Facebook groups is that it's a ready-made audience. So if you were to go onto Facebook today and start a brand new Facebook page, yes, you can invite your friends and family to come and like that page, and you can start participating in like ladders where we all go and like each other's Facebook pages. But where do your real leads come from? Where do people who are actually your ideal client find you, and how do they find you, and how do you grow that audience? Now, the Heart-Centered Soul-Driven Entrepreneurs Facebook community, the one that I facilitate, is already over 31,000 women strong. And you get to go into that group and advertise your products and services free of charge to that audience. It's a highly connected group, it's highly engaged, and by engaging with that community and participating in the group, not just on promo days, you'll be able to grow your reach within that community and make sales really quickly. That is a much more connected way of growing your business and converting people into paying clients when you are first starting out. And then number 5, make it personal rather than broadcast. So I found this really interesting. I got an email from someone a few weeks ago, and it looked like they had sent it as a broadcast, like a newsletter to a bunch of different people. And it said, "Hi, Tash. I'm so excited to be sending out this email to all of you today. I wanted to send a reminder that my prices are going up at the end of the month, and I would really love to work with you, blah, 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 blah," right? It was basically telling me that their prices were going up at the end of the month, and how I could actually book in with them or have a conversation with them. And whilst the email read quite well, I noticed that there was no footer on the email, like I couldn't click unsubscribe or manage your preferences or anything like that. So I sent an email back to the person. I said, what email service are you using for this group email? And she said, actually, I have a confession to make. I was just sending that email to you because we had talked about us working together before, but I didn't want to be too pushy and send you an email where you felt like I was selling directly to you. So I sent it out so it looked like it was a newsletter. And I was like, that is the opposite of what you should have done, because by making it look like it was broadcast, it made it look like it wasn't for me. And I didn't pay as much attention to it. If it had said, hey, Tash, a couple of months ago, you talked about your interest in my services. And I just wanted to reach out and personally say, are you still interested? Because I'm putting my prices up. Do you want me to send you through the information? I would have actually read that email and read about those services in much more detail. And I would have replied and said, yes. And so it was so fascinating to me that the person thought broadcast would be better. And again, this comes down to that belief that sales and selling is bad, that it's trickery and it's tactics when we're talking to people at the individual level. But ultimately, we buy and we convert because of the connection that we have to someone. And if you have the space to send a personalized email to someone, that is going to be much more converting and connecting with that person than if you were to just send them out broadcast information. Remember, it's all a practice. Now, I know that when I talk about conversion and sales conversations and one-to-one conversations and sending personalized emails, people can get really scared about it all. But I just want to reassure you that even as an experienced marketer and consultant, when I first started my business, I had been in marketing and consulting for over 4 years. And before that, I had been in corporate business development, business planning, and lots of really, really good areas that supported my business growth for 7 years. I had over 10 years of experience in this field. And when I first started my business and had sales conversations, I would get this crazy rash. It would come out of the middle of my cleavage and it would crawl its way up my chest and up my neck and then cover my whole face. And I would look so red that I almost looked purple. I even had people say to me, are you okay? Did it just get really hot there? Because of this huge rash come up. This rash came up because I felt so uncomfortable having sales conversations because I was selling myself now. I wasn't selling my corporate consulting company's services. I was selling Tash Corbin. And so it felt really uncomfortable and I had to get practice at it. I would run webinars and at the very end, I would say, so if you want to work with me, get in touch. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. See you. Bye. And I wouldn't do the upsell or the sales pitch part at the end of my webinars. I would rush it so much. My videos were horrible. I felt uncomfortable. I would stumble on my words. I would become a three-headed monster. And I don't know if you've experienced this before. I distinctly remember this sales conversation I had with this lady. And I said to her, and the investment is $2,500. But if you're not able to do $2,500, we could do a payment plan. Or if you didn't want to do a payment plan, maybe you just want to do a month to start off with first, I do have a 1-month program where we have more time together in that 1 month, and that's $1,000. Oh, but I also, sometimes people want to stretch that out over 2 months. I'm totally happy to do that as well. And I didn't stop talking. And it was like I was having 3 conversations with this poor one lady, and I could see her eyes just popping out of her head on the other side. And I said to her, I'm just going to be quiet now. What do you think? And she said, oh, I've got lots to think about. I do want to work with you. I'm not sure if I'll do 1 month or 2 months or 6 months. I'll get back to you. And I knew that by over talking and becoming that three-headed monster, I had totally talked her into confusion rather than clarity. Eventually she did work with me, but it took me about 4 weeks to get back on a conversation with her and make a recommendation. You know what I recommend for you? I recommend we do A, B, and C, and it will be this much. And then she was like, yeah, I think you're right. Let's do it. So I have very much been through all of this learning process myself. Even though I was already an experienced marketer and an experienced business consultant when I first started my business, I suffered from severe who am I syndrome. I would constantly be going, yeah, but I haven't had this, all right? And I would discount my experience. I would make assumptions about what people wanted from me. I didn't have an International Coaching Federation certified coaching qualification, and therefore people wouldn't want to work with me. I was this close to signing up for those internationally accredited qualifications so many times because I felt like I was a complete imposter. And yet I had been experienced in my work for over 10 years. So if you are feeling like, it's like totally crazy and I can't do this and this feels really uncomfortable, I want you to know that you're not alone and it's totally okay, and it's all about practicing. And remember as well that it's not forever, it's just for now. I'm not saying that you need to sell through one-to-one sales conversations for the rest of your business career. Look at this now. This is an automated video training that I've created based on running this as a live webinar 3 times, and 3 times it just blew the roof off. I had people saying, oh my God, the light bulbs. Oh my gosh, this is life-changing. You need to share this with every woman who's starting a business. So I created it into this automated training, and now I'm using ads and other ways to actually get out there and promote it. But I know that it works, and I know that people want it. And I also know that 3% of people who see this training will end up signing up to my takeoff program because they want more detailed, more hand-holding, and more support from me in helping them get their business off the ground. So it's not forever, it's just for now. Remember that your audience will never be as small as it is right now today. The return on investment for your time when you use these high connection, high conversion, and warm audience reach strategies is really high. People say to me, well, I don't have time to be doing all of these sales conversations for free for people. And I say to them, well, if I said to you, do 3 15-minute sales conversations and you will get 1 person sign up to your biggest VIP package, would it be worth you doing those 3 sales conversations? And they're like, yeah, absolutely it would. So the return on investment for your time is very high right now. And in the process of using this lean startup model, you get to prove your business model, prove your messaging, prove your niche, and prove your business idea by making money in this space. Think about jumping into your business today, getting out there, spreading the word about it, getting really clear on who your niche is, and getting sales conversations with people who are your ideal clients and making those VIP sales. You are going to make more money by using these strategies than you're going to make in putting together those crazy complex funnels. You really are. And once you have the time and money freedom that comes from making those VIP sales, then you can move into the more leveraged strategies. So think about it. If you could adopt these very simple, very easy strategies over the next couple of months and get to the point where you're making $5,000 to $10,000 a month easily and through these highly connected strategies, wouldn't that be better than spending the next 6 months tweaking and changing and playing with funnels, trying to get those sales in the door and never actually getting a significant return on investment for your time? So what is it that you need to do in order to maximize your conversions? What have you been avoiding that actually would work better for you now? Is it that you need to set the goal of having 3 to 5 sales conversations every single week and getting good at those sales conversations? Understanding your ideal client, your really specific, really clear niche, and understanding what it is that they're looking from you. Proving that you have something that they're willing to pay for, and consistently increasing the price of that thing until it accurately reflects the value proposition of what you're selling. Which brings us to mindset. So this is the third in that very complex, being very sarcastic, marketing strategy and business growth strategy that I've shared with you. Number 1, reach the right people. Number 2, convert the right ones into paying clients. And number 3, nurture your mindset. Starting a business is the biggest personal development quest that you could ever undertake. There is so much that happens for you. You go from having someone else to tell you what to do and tell you that it's good and tell you when it's bad and tell you how to improve, to you being where the buck stops. You are responsible for making decisions. You are the person who's in charge. If you don't show up properly, you are the one who suffers. If you don't have the right messaging, you don't make as much money. So it is such a huge personal development journey. It's not just about the personal development of finding the motivation and showing up and stretching yourself out of the comfort zone. It's also a personal development journey in the fact that you need to learn all of these new things and new skills and new strategies that you've never learnt before. It is so important that you get support when you're first starting your business. There are those people who do it on their own, do it the long way, and do it the hard way. And there are those people who get support and get themselves on the fast track. Surround yourself with people who understand you. Do not ask people for feedback and validation of your business idea if they are not the right people. In most cases, your partner is not the right person to be getting business validation from. Nor is your mother, nor is your sister, nor is your Uncle Ned who had an accounting firm 10 years ago. You need to surround yourself with people who understand not only the online business world, but also the feminine connected strategies in the online business world. Build yourself a toolkit of mindset strategies that will help you to support yourself. I love emotional freedom technique. I love to journal every single day. I track my income every day. I have a gorgeous toolkit of mindset tools that assist me whenever I'm feeling wobbly and assist me to stay high vibe when I'm feeling amazing and assist me to get out of my headspace and into that flow and rhythm of working in my business with ease. Find your toolkit, experiment with things that might work for you, and practice daily. As I said, I journal every day. I track my income every day. I write down my goal at least once a day, if not 5 times a day. I'm very focused and very ambitious, and I'm very, very much look after my mindset and support my mindset development because I know that that's crucial to my success. Ultimately, the sooner you embrace a practice mindset, embrace failure, and let go of the need to be perfect before you move forward, the easier this will be. Not just for you, but for everyone involved. It will be easier for your clients. It will be easier for your support team because so many of us hold ourselves back from moving forward because we haven't got it right yet. But as I said, no great business was built on theory. No messaging was built on theory. No niche was built based on theory. All of the bits of growing your business require you to get out there and take action. Instead of trying to avoid failure, I want you to embrace failure. Get out there and fail as quickly as possible because every single failure is information on the way to success. And the sooner you can embrace that, the faster your business will take off. So to sum up, when it comes to fast tracking your startup, there are 3 focus areas. Number 1, reaching the right people. Number 2, converting the right ones into paying clients through connected high conversion strategies. And number 3, nurturing your mindset to ensure that you can support yourself through this process. In order to fast track your results, you need to make some decisions and you need to get implementing straight away. The sooner you start implementing and getting out there and sharing your work, the faster you get the feedback that you need to then pivot and continue that growth. So to get on the fast track, you need, number 1, a great strategy. You need step-by-step guidance on how to get out there and find those right people. So I've given you my 3-part strategy here. Number 1, get clear on your niche and reach the right people. Now, if you don't know how to do that, if you don't know how to pick the right niche, if you don't know how to get out there in front of people, if you need more practical step-by-step strategies on how to reach people, get that information. Go out there and find it. Now, I do happen to support people in this space, but I don't care if you do it with me or if you do it with someone else. Just get some good advice. Get some step-by-step guidance on how to reach people, how to convert them into paying clients, and how to look after that mindset of yours. Great strategy will give you that step-by-step approach so you can make those decisions quickly, start implementing, get the feedback, and adjust as necessary. Number 2, you need to take a practice-based approach. Fail fast and learn quickly. The more you get out there and start sharing, trying things, failing, working out why it was wrong, working out what to do instead, the more your business is going to grow and the faster you're going to get money in the door. Number 3, get great guidance and advice. You don't know what you don't know. There are people who have been who work with me, and they say, "Why have I never heard this before? I have been trying to start my business for the last year and no one has ever told me about this connection-based strategy, or no one has ever told me about the Facebook algorithm and what I need to be doing to work it in my favor, or no one's ever given me this detailed advice on how to actually create blog posts and content that increases the chances that people are going to be working with me at the end of it." So find someone who you really trust, who you love the way that they sell to you. Find someone whose marketing approach and marketing strategies really resonate for you, and get their guidance and advice. Having an expert, having a mentor, having someone to get their eyes on your business and let you know where they can see room for improvement and things that you can shift and change to get faster results is like the opposite of reinventing the wheel, right? Don't reinvent the wheel. There are people out there who have the information that you need, who can mentor you through this process so that you can get on the fast track, so that you can fast track your results and get the insight that you need to get money in the door faster. And then number 4, build yourself a network of peers. Those peers will help you to stay the path and will give you the support from people who get it, right? As I said, your Uncle Jack who had a business 10 years ago, even though he may have, had a really dynamic following on Twitter, those strategies and those things that work for his business don't necessarily work for yours. And, I've even found this with my own family and my own friends. When I share a win with them or I share a frustration that I have about my business, for the first 2 years of my business, every time I had a frustration, my sister's first answer was, "Well, you can always go back and get a job." That is not the supportive encouragement that I'm looking for when I'm having some wobbles in my business. You need to stay the path and get support from people who get it. Supporting women in these 4 ways just so happens to be my forte. And I know that I said at the start of the training today that I would save talking about myself till the very end. And I do want you to know that from here, what I'm going to do is give you a little bit of information about how I work and also how I can continue to support you through your startup journey. So, as I said, this is really my forte, is giving people great step-by-step strategy, helping them to adopt a practice approach and to fail fast and learn fast. I'm helping people to get out there, experiment, try things out, and learn from the results that they get through that process. I love giving people guidance and advice, and I can often see things that you cannot see for yourself because I have been doing this for over 5 years now. And I also love facilitating connection, and I help women by creating networks of peers so that you can get the right support from people who actually get it. I'm also a very, very nerdy business geek. I'm obsessed with understanding buyer behavior, buyer psychology, and all the things that make businesses work. I'm a specialist in lean startup, not just because it's the smartest way of doing it, but also for me, it was out of necessity. I didn't have tens of thousands of dollars when I first started my business. I had to do it lean and I had to make it work as quickly as possible. So I specialize in helping women, particularly in service-based businesses, get to that $5,000 to $10,000 a month as quickly and as cheaply as possible by proving that their business is a viable business and by nailing that value proposition. I'm also the creator of the Heart-Centered Business Conference that we run every single year in Southeast Queensland in Australia. I'm an author. I love getting on stage and speaking, and I'm 6'2". So when we meet in real life, you have been warned, I am a very tall lady. Above all else, if there was one thing I would want you to remember about me, it would be that I absolutely love and adore business, and I really do believe that women do it best. Particularly in the online business world these days, we have the opportunity to sell through a two-way conversation rather than a one-way conversation. I mean, think about back even 10, 15 years ago, the old traditional methods of selling were all one way. Print media, television advertising, and radio advertising. It was all a one-way conversation that was based on convincing as many people as possible that they needed your hot new thing. That's just not the case these days with the online business world. We have a platform in which we are able to listen to our customers as much as we speak to them, if not more. And women are really good at listening, paying attention, and asking great questions and connecting with an audience on a much deeper level than simply saying, I'm better than you, my thing is amazing, and you need it. So I truly do believe that women are the best online entrepreneurs. And I also believe that with great wealth, we will change the world together. I have a vision of creating a world in which the Forbes 500 list has more women than men on it. And you can help me make that vision a reality simply by thinking about that, imagining that, and picturing that in your mind right now. Think about what difference it would make in the world if the Forbes 500 list right now had more women on it than men. I truly believe that when women come into money, when women really grow their wealth, when women create amazing income for themselves, that the entire world benefits. Their friends and family benefit, their community benefits, their country benefits, and the world benefits. And I really do believe that through entrepreneurship, we women will change the world, and we'll do it together. If that's a vision that you can get behind, and if you are looking for support to grow your business, I would love to invite you into my startup mentoring program. This program is called Take Off, and it's how I support brilliant women just like you to get their businesses off the ground. There are 3 core delivery methods for this startup mentoring program. It's a beautiful group program, and it includes step-by-step modules that take you through that step-by-step process to get your business off the ground. We look at what your strengths are, what your unique purpose is, and what you bring to the table in your business. We get hyper clear on your niche and the right messaging that resonates with that niche so that they are saying to you, okay, that's exactly what I need. Please just take my money and let's do this. In the Takeoff program, in the step-by-step modules, I also cover core concepts such as learning heart-centered sales, getting clear on your messaging and how to write good copy, and also how to start scaling your messaging and marketing so that you can get in front of larger and larger audiences. The second delivery model is through the live support calls. We have at least 2 of these live calls every single month. And on these live support calls, you get the opportunity in a group format to have conversations with me about your business. So what we do on the live group calls is we form a queue, and you can come and give me the update of where you're up to in the program, what you're thinking for your business, ask any questions that you have, and get my feedback. And I find it very important that I give you access to me as part of this Takeoff program. I'm not just going to send you on your merry way, make you watch some videos, and then fend for yourself. When you are starting a business, you don't need a course, you need a mentor. Because as I said earlier, there are things that you don't even know you don't know them yet. And you might be wandering off on a strategy pathway that's not the right fit for you. What I get to do through the Takeoff program is really give you that hand holding that you need through those early stages of business so you feel like you're fully supported and you have someone who understands your niche, understands your market, understands your business, understands your strengths, and can help guide and support you through that startup journey in a way that works specifically tailored to your needs. The third way I deliver the Takeoff program is through our beautiful, supportive Facebook community. There are now over 300 women in the Takeoff program, and it is absolutely one of my favorite places to hang out online. Now, I'm going to be sending you a little bit more info on the Takeoff program via email in the next few days. But if just that little piece of information alone is enough for you to want to go and find out more, you can absolutely go and check out the Takeoff program at tashcorbin.com takeoff. The doors to Takeoff are open 24/7, 365 days a year. You can join at any time, come in and get started straight away on getting your online business flying. If you've got any questions about the Takeoff program, you're welcome to email support@tashcorbin.com and we will do our best to answer your questions within 2 working days. Thank you so much for joining me for this beautiful free training. I hope that it's been of value for you. If you have any questions, as I said, just email support@tashcorbin.com. And until next time, beautiful lady, I cannot wait to see you shine.